Welcome folks to Tapp-iN Live every 2nd and 22nd of the month at 2:22 p.m. All you have to find out is which time zone we're in. Okay, today we're doing Hawaii time today. So today is, because it's the 22nd, of course, is a Tapp-in 2x2 because PTSD and is completely unnecessary. Okay, folks, so the Tapp-in 2x2, the whole idea with these things is you come and you learn tapping and you do tapping for yourself, but you want to bring somebody who has a similar problem. So if you're a veteran, then go ahead and bring a veteran. If you're a fireman, bring a fireman. If you're a medic, bring a medic, okay? If you're, someone who's homeless, bring somebody else who's homeless. Okay, PTSD comes in lots of forms, okay? And I assure you, okay, from hundreds of veterans and dozens of Special Forces soldiers, I have never seen tapping not work to get rid of PTSD in anybody who's done the work, okay? So, I want to show you a couple of, let me get back in the sun here. I want to show you a couple of points that you can use at any time, okay, before we get into the sequence of EFT. Okay, EFT is emotional freedom technique. And what happened was the doctors Callahan discovered TFT, thought field therapy. And a little history of this here. Okay, and so when they discovered this, it kind of spread itself, in a weird way. And the reason is because Dr. Callahan, the male, he's now passed. Mrs. Callahan is at TFT tapping. If you need, compound help with compound perturbations in your thought field, you'll learn more about that later. But what Dr. Callahan did was he cured one patient, and then in the next 30 days, he cured all of his patients, and he had no practice. And people in the American Psychiatric Association, they saw this, and they sued him over the use of the word cure. Well, I'm happy to say that Dr. Callahan won that legal battle and is the only doctor in U.S. psychiatric history legally allowed to use the word cure. Okay, cure is not in psychiatric dictionaries. Now, what I tell people is you can do 3 minutes of tapping or 30 years of yappy therapy. It's your choice. Now, this is from somebody who his first college level course in yappy therapy, he passed from an accredited university at 10 years old in transactional analysis. Okay, I know T.H.E. I know Gestalt therapy. It's what my father did. Okay, and then I've learned lots of other techniques in my years of helping people recover from brain injuries and from these traumas and phobias and things like that. Because I'm a brain injury survivor, and this I have used tapping that we're teaching you. I've used it for physical problems. I won't talk about it here in the public thing. If you joined the mission or joined the Tapp-iN life group, then in that membership I can tell you the whole story. But so right now I'll just say to you, in my opinion, Qigong and tapping saved my life when I was having a heart attack in a blizzard and could not get to a doctor for 7 days. Okay, so this is powerful, powerful stuff, yet it's some of the most simple things you'll ever see, because all you're doing is tapping on meridian points on your body in a certain sequence that gets rid of your problem. Okay, so EFT is kind of a cure-all sequence. Okay, again, if EFT doesn't work, the routine I'm going to teach you today, then you call up Mrs. Callahan and she'll put you through a series of tests, and she will find those points in that sequence that will get rid of your problem, your compound problem. You would never have been able to guess that sequence in a million years. Okay, So, anyway, the EFT, the emotional freedom technique, that after Dr. Callahan, won, the court case, the University of Florida, what they did was they studied this for 12 years, and it has been declared a science. Okay, tapping is a science. Again, hundreds of veterans, dozens of Special Forces soldiers, hundreds and hundreds of homeless people. I've never seen it not work to get rid of PTSD in any veteran who did it. I've seen it work for medics. I've seen it work for firemen. I've seen it work for policemen, okay? This is something that you can do if you're in one of those professions where there's a stigma, okay? Tapping is a thing you can do on your own, and it's simple, okay? What is happening here is, it's like Jesus says in the Bible when he's talking about the burden of your sins, okay? The weight, okay? Scientologists call them engrams. In psychology, we talk about energy being stuck on the body, okay? When you look at the history of Chinese medicine, okay, they've told us where these T.H.E lines are for 5,000 years. Well, we can now measure quantum flow, and we have machines that we can use to measure quantum flow in the body, and we have. And guess where these T.H.E lines are? First of all, guess what? They really exist. And second of all, guess where they are? Exactly where the Chinese have told us for 5,000 years. So in other words, where your lymph system is, your nerve system, your vein, your vascular system, also are invisible tubes where crystalline energy is flowing. It's not an if. Okay, it's not some frou-frou, mystic stuff. It's science. It's proven. It's physics. It's electromagnetism in your body. Okay, this is what, we're talking about, the flow of God. Okay, your energy flow throughout your body. This T.H.E energy, when it is dissipating traumas and phobias, sometimes it gets caught at these meridian points. And if we hit these meridian points in certain sequences and using certain psychological discharge statements, all of that trapped heavy energy, that burden of your sins, flushes. It dissipates. Okay? Now this is further proven by the fact that grounding has also been declared a science. Grounding is when you put your bare feet and bare hands and bare butt on the earth, okay, for at least a half hour a day. It's been proven to reduce inflammation and increase the flow of energy and blood and blah, blah, blah. Okay, so maybe what is getting in your way, maybe what is traumatizing you, maybe what is even giving you nightmares can go away in the next few minutes. So how this process works with EFT. You rate your trauma, your situation, on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the highest. And you go through the routine, and then you ask yourself again, what is that rating? Now, if it's going down, maybe it hasn't gone down enough, you need to do it again, get it down lower. But again, if you are getting it down, but it won't go all the way down, it won't dissipate, you call up Mrs. Callahan at TFTtapping.com, Thought Field Therapy. She's the go-to for compound perturbations in your thought field. Okay? Now, not everything is compound. Some of it, just because it's intense, doesn't mean it's compound. Some of it's very simple. An IUD blew up in my face, and I have nightmares. Okay? Some of it's very simple. I wake up in a nightmare, And I'm scared that my automatic training as a Special Forces soldier is going to have me react automatically before I realize I'm not in that firefight. And so I won't live at home. I won't sleep in the same bed with my wife, in the same house with my family, because I'm scared of that. I've seen it go away. Just go away. Where they don't see the nightmare anymore. Or that film is kind of like that fixed video. It goes all black and white. But all the emotion and the color and the intensity is out of it. And I've seen these Special Forces soldiers then come all the way home. And there's nothing better than that. There's nothing I've seen in my life better than, and I've seen male and females knocking on their own front door and being re-greeted by their family. Just because they bring a soldier home from a foreign conflict doesn't mean he's all the way home or she is all the way home in her heart. It doesn't mean that all that stuff that got dumped on them, all the traumas, all the loud bangs and seeing things that nobody should have to see is this heavy weight that's on them. It drives you crazy in your head. And it doesn't have to be anymore. Now, the first thing that we do in EFT, in Emotional Freedom Technique, in this routine, is we hit this karate chop point. Okay, it's also called the reverse point. And we're going to do this. And we're going to do 3 psychological discharge statements. Now, I'm going to tell you, when you're getting rid of trauma and phobia, bad experiences, you shouldn't mince words and you shouldn't be polite. You're probably going to cuss. You're probably going to say all sorts of things. But you're going to do 3 psychological discharge statements while hitting this reverse point. And they're structured like this. This thing sucks my ass, but I love and respect myself. This thing is like the worst thing I've ever been through in my life, but I forgive and trust myself. I can't believe that all of this is happening and blah, 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 but I accept and appreciate myself. Now, those 3 statements and that change of polarity, now your energy is moving in the right direction towards dissipation. You've stated the problem and you've stated the result. You've stated the means of getting from one place to the other. Now, at this point, you go to your eyebrow. Now, if you take your 3 fingers, okay, and you put it right here, these 2, this is the point, okay? Eyebrow. Side of eye is this bone between the 2 sockets, between the eye socket and the temple. Under eye is actually the top of the cheekbone, right? Nose is right there, under the nose, on top of the lip. Chin is the cleft in the V, right? Right there, above your chin, see? Now, collarbone is you find the ball and you go out an inch and down an inch. There's that meaty area. You want to hit that. And then right here, the bra line, also called the man spot, because this is where men really trap their energy, okay? And then from there, the top of the head, or the baby spot. Okay? Now, while you're doing this cycle, and you only have to do it 2 or 3 times, you are bringing that thought, that trauma, that phobia, that nightmare up into the thought field. Remember, thought field therapy, one more time. And it might not be pleasant, but just do it one more time so you can get rid of it. Okay? Just feel it. The more you feel it, the more intense it is for you, the more comes out. Okay. So again, it's kind of like the setup statements. You're saying, well, I can't stand it when so-and-so does such and such. It drives me crazy and makes my work life hell and blah, blah, blah. But I forgive them. But I forgive myself. I'm dissipating the energy. I'm letting it go. You know, this person is my boss and they keep doing inappropriate things, but I have a family to feed and so I can't go anywhere, and it really drives me crazy. But I'm letting it all go. I'm releasing the energy. So cup like that. It's really that simple. Well, where'd you start? You started at 10? You come down to 3? Wow. Great session, right? Now, I'm not doing it today, but I'm leaving up examples on the Tapp-iN playlist of, like, I did a homeless tap that I in like January or February, and it was really intense. Okay, I will probably repost some of the other things that we've done, but today I'm not going to do the tap because I wanted to explain to you the process, and also, you know, how we make films here in the Mission, how we make videos is they're one-take wonders. You get what you get. And sometimes that involves other people, especially when you use an outdoor office. Well, I have a child running around today, so I don't want to take it too far with the language and stuff like that. And really, if you just do what I just explained to you, you can do that on anything. You can use it on weight loss. You can use it on, you know, repairing your heart, you know, on love issues, relationship issues, you know, your health. I will later probably do a tap on my heel, which just doesn't seem right now to stop being a bruised bone. And so that and the combination of Qigong and the 5 other disciplines make up this thing that we call Tapp-iN. And so at tapp-i.com, TAPQI. Qi, of course, means energy. And so Qigong is an ancient martial arts meditation. And between tapping and Qigong and these other 5 disciplines, like grounding, and you'll learn about the, you know, more inside the Mission, you can solve a lot of mental and physical issues in ways that you may not have recognized as being true and actual, since we come from this whole Western medicine tradition. You know, we tend to use a lot of pharmaceuticals. Okay, I stopped that 20 years ago. If I'm not in an ER, you can't give me even aspirin. Okay, and yet I've been through a brain injury, in my opinion, a brain injury, a heart attack in a blizzard, a minor stroke, bone cancer, and prostate cancer. 0 pharmaceuticals, have all my parts. And I'm healthy, healthier, and have a better brain and mind connection than most people I know. And I'm a guy who would look up and not know where in the heck he was. Would forget how to go places he'd been going for 10 years. But if you stick around the Mission, you're going to be, wow, how does all of that stuff come out of his head? Because I ingrained it. Yesterday, one of the things that we, you know, on the 21st of every month, that we talk about, because it's brain day, is dendrite formation. A dendrite is that synaptic pattern, okay? It connects, all right, the thoughts and nerve impulses in your brain. And we know that if you do something 21 times in a row, you create that physical connection. You actually make a dendrite in your brain. This is how we do brain injury recovery at the physical level, very basic physical level. Now, We use the number 23 around here. And how we explain all that is, bridgehead to bridgehead, 21, and you have a solid bridge again. You have a solid synaptic pattern again. So that relates to the whole day framing thing that you saw in when you saw the seminar. Remember, you start your day, you end your day, and that day framing. Okay, same thing. Bridgehead, bridgehead, and you fill in your bridge. Okay, so there's a thing I want to mention here. First of all, before I go into radical forgiveness, I want to tell you these 2 points I mentioned at the beginning of the show. All right, so let's say you're in a situation where you've got to calm down, but you're like sitting somewhere in front of people. This spot here, the front of your kneecap, your whole kneecap, but particularly the front of your kneecap. If you can rub the two of them, try it right now where you're sitting. You will go, same thing, above your heart on this side of your body. Like when I had the heart attack, I gave myself a bruise on this spot. But you'll find a spot here that's harder, that's more tense than the spots around it. And you rub that with the front, with your fingers and pressure. Like I was about to say, you'll take a breath, okay? It's really powerful, these points, these meridian points, and this trapped energy, and what happens when you dissipate it. Now, let's talk about energy connection to other people. In the mission, we talk about this thing IN, which stands for inner networking. It's that heart connection. It's that energetic connection that you have with people. Now, if there are people out there that you harbor bad feelings, et cetera, with them, and you're faced with forgiving them, sometimes that's like the hardest thing you can do. You're like, why should I forgive somebody who hurt me? Okay? I'm not asking you to do it for the other person. I'm asking you to do it for yourself. Because these situations are like energetic tug-of-wars. And when you let go of your end of the rope, an energetic shift has to happen. There's a video I'll put in the bottom here. It's Vishan at Mind Valley. And again, the title of it, how to not have it, make it so that no one can mess with you. We'll do a polite version. The real title will be in the description. And what happened is he talks about 40 years of Zen. This thing Dave Asprey at Bulletproof Coffee talks about. You may have already heard me talk about his stuff on activated charcoal. Probably the best source of information out there. Go to that page on bulletproof.com. Activated charcoal, especially if you have Gulf War syndrome. Okay, we'll explain all that later at a different time. But so Dave Asprey does this thing called 40 years of Zen, and what they're trying to do is have you achieve in the moment what a monk achieves in 40 years of meditation. Okay, and what they do is they put you in this pod, and it's kind of like what is that? Like a deprivation chamber sort of a thing, and you're sitting there, and they've got electrodes up, on you, and as they developed this, they started seeing that people were having extraordinary success that other people weren't, and they asked those people what they're doing, and turns out they were sitting around and forgiving people. And so Vishan had somebody who had really messed him over, and he saved forgiveness of this guy till the very end. And when he was able to forgive this person who had embezzled from him and told lies about him, and was a family type person, friend that in business just really messed him over. And they say that as soon as he forgave that guy, Vishan, who is a powerful mind and brain, had the highest alpha ratings they'd ever recorded on him. Immediately after the moment of forgiveness. Now, he had the people at Mon Valley do it. And there's one guy who couldn't forgive somebody because 30 years earlier, this guy had, done some bad things to him. He hadn't seen the guy since, and it was a family member. So he had a hard time forgiving him, but he did, and when he did, he showed Vishon this video. Hadn't talked to the guy in 30 years. But the next morning after forgiveness, this guy sent him a video admitting what he had done and apologizing. The morning after he forgave him, after 30 years of no contact. Now, I had an issue with a guy that was like a second father to me, and one of his sons seemed to be ducking and diving me at my coffee shop that I went to every morning. And this is a guy I had wonderful conversations and good times with, and I couldn't figure out what was going on, and no one else seemed to know either. And that morning I'm at the coffee shop, and I started doing the I forgive him, I forgive me, I forgive him, I forgive me. And then I'm sitting there and I'm talking to some DSMR people, and that's something else we'll get into, the cross hemisphere stuff with tapping. And this guy that had forgiven 2 hours earlier, out of nowhere, walks up with his hand out, "Oh, Steamer, I'm so sorry. I would never doubt you, dude. You were out of contacts. I had no idea that you were even here." Right in front of these people I just described this video, this radical forgiveness process, and had said I just did it 2 hours earlier. That fast. When you let go of the energetic rope, that tug of war is over. The other person's fallen to the ground. And trust me, they're remembering, they're processing, and life is probably forcing them to deal with it. Okay? I forgive them, I forgive me. I forgive them, I forgive me. Let it go. Tapping and forgiveness and all of this is about that energy flow that doesn't happen if you don't let go of the old heavy stuff. The stuff that is trapped is in the way of the flow. Now, what you'll learn if you study Tapp-iN with us is this. If you look at you and your life and your energy as a tube, you have to uncork the top and uncork the bottom to have flow. How we uncork the top is we ask for what we want from God and the universe. And we live in that space of being expectantly surprised. That's one of our copyrighted mission terms. Expectantly surprised at how God solves a problem or what comes into your life that you had no idea was coming. And for that to work, you also have to uncork the bottom, which means you have to give. Okay, that's why we started on the 11th and 12th, the heart of the mission, because you always start with the heart here in the mission. You give, and you ask, you allow in, and you give, and then you have flow. Now, tapping gets rid of the blocks inside the tube. Qigong opens up the volume of the tube, making it bigger, allowing more energy to flow. See, Qigong, step one is fill your dantian, fill your battery, so that you stay full of life. And the rest isn't reserves, it's flow, it's giving. Okay, we talk about in the mission this generating joy. Okay, the difference between happiness and joy. Money will buy you happiness. It will put shoes on little kids' feet, food on the table, a roof above the head, but it cannot buy joy. Joy is a state. It's not an event. Happiness is an event. Joy is a state, and you generate it from within out. From within out. You give it through the heart to all those other people that you are connected with, that you are inter-networking with. Down the road, you'll hear the "We are one redwood tree," speech. All the redwood trees, the tallest, most powerful tree in the world, the only way they can stand up because their roots are so shallow is that they're connected to the other redwood trees around them. They're literally holding each other up. That's what happens with humans. That's what happens in mission when you mastermind with all these other people. Or just go into a master group like the Tapp-iN Life Group and connect with the other people that are on your wavelength and that are studying this practice and the disciplines within it. I urge you to do this for yourself. I urge you to go through your inventory and tap out everything. Man, I'm telling you, you'll feel light. You'll feel full of life. All those negative scripts will not be there. You won't be hearing them. Because you got to understand, those scripts, they're coming not from your mind, they're coming from your body. It's one of the things that we talk about in brain injury recovery. You have to discern whether these thoughts are from toxins and other physical stuff, or whether it's really your spirit coming through your mind into the interface with your brain. Those body-based, toxin-based, trauma-based thoughts will go away if you use these things and practice them. That's why the term, like, lawyers have a practice, doctors have a practice.